This is episode number 402 of the Inner Fight Podcast, brought to you by Smith Street Paleo. Andre, what's up?
Not much, man. We've had a lot of shows going on now.
Mate, we are literally, I have to say, someone said to me the other day, they said, why is it that in all of those shows you guys were wearing the same clothes? I was like, it's a coincidence.
That's all we have.
That's all we have, black t-shirts and that. No, sometimes we record a few shows on the same day. So today we've done... Well, this show was recorded a couple of weeks ago from when you guys listened to it, 402.
Yeah.
Hopefully you tuned into episode number 400. That was a big one.
Yeah, wrap up of all the shows we've done, the best shows, the biggest takeaways.
And a bit of a celebration as well, mate.
Yeah, 400 shows.
398, you grilled me.
Completely.
Bastard. We need to do part 2 of that.
How many years has the podcast been going on for now?
27. No, mate, you know, that's a really good question. I have to check when we did episode 1. I remember doing it.
I've been involved this summer for 2 years, so at this
2
point,
years.
about 1.5 years.
And we do 52 long shows, 52 fitness in under 3 minutes. We do 104 shows a year.
So we've
But
done
before we didn't, mate, we do one show when I felt like it. I was a little bit not a good boy then.
Okay, so about 4 years probably.
402, and mate, who better to get on the show than a female who, I'm not going to spoil it, has almost dedicated her life. I learnt before the show, which she'll tell us about. She just stuck the middle finger up at the corporate world because she wanted to go and do what she does. Tima Darian, thank you so much, sweetheart, for joining us. Let's kick it off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and we'll go from there. Hit it up.
So, I'm originally Lebanese. I've been living in the UAE for the past 16 years now.
All right.
I grew up in, let's say, I call it a mainstream childhood, most probably. You know how it is in the UAE. So I started more into fitness. I was more into bodybuilding, gym, and all that.
Yeah.
And then I realized I want to do something different. So I started running. I tried biking. I went for scuba diving. And then I started with bungee jumping. And I was traveling around the world just doing bungee jumps and whatnot.
I was traveling around the world just doing bungee jumps and whatnot.
That sounds a lot more exciting than my life.
Trey, when are you gonna retire from Inner Fight and do something interesting with your life?
That sounds like a sick job.
Yeah. So right. So you've been active and involved, or there's a passion for extreme sports from the start.
Yeah, that's correct. Cool.
And which sports are you into now exactly? What is the main hobby or main thing you're doing?
So my main hobby right now is mountaineering. So after my bungee jump in Nepal, I had to climb up, and I passed through proper, like, intense villages in Nepal.
Okay.
And it got me really excited. And then I made a promise to myself that once I start working, make some money, I'm going to start traveling and doing big mountains.
So mountaineering is literally just
What-
walking. What's the definition?
really.
You've just
Look.
made it way too simple.
Okay.
How did you fall in love with the mountains? That's what we want to hear about.
Okay, once I flew over Everest as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think for everyone that gets into something, there's a little tipping point, isn't there, that goes, I want to climb you
Yeah, exactly.
in this situation.
Exactly. So I looked at Everest from those really small flights in Nepal, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna stand on top of there.
top of
I
that.
really want to see. It looked really appealing to me,
Really?
and I already have passion to all these outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
So I made a promise to myself, and I'm doing it right now.
Wow. But mate, you don't just do it right now. Talk to us about how along the way, how you really got into it, because I know for one that mountaineering is expensive.
Very.
It's incredibly time consuming.
Yes.
You need a lot of equipment, you need a lot of knowledge. So let's kick off of sort of how, because it doesn't just come that you become a full-time mountaineer. Mountaineerer? Are you a mountaineerer?
A mountaineer.
Mountaineer. Is it gender specific, or it's
Not really.
okay?
Mountaineer.
I like that.
I know,
taught
right?
English all the
Very
time.
easy.
Mountaineer. So talk to us about that. Like, how does it develop? You see Everest, and you know that that's what you want to do. But where do you go? Where do you start?
So I'm lucky that I've been into sports ever since I was young. So I already had a strong core to try different stuff. So
Right.
that was a prerequisite for everything, right?
Right.
Fitness.
Right.
So I said I'm going to try my first mountain, which was Mountain Elbrus, and it's the highest one in Europe. And that was the first mountain.
We've had an.
We had a inner talk
Who's
from Majid bin Isa,
Oh yeah,
who
true.
did a talk on Mount Elbrus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first one.
Yeah, and it wasn't too technical, but you had to learn a lot about the gear, obviously, because there's
Right.
like 5 layers from the top, 3 to 4 layers from the bottom, and then you have the specific boots, you have crampons, you have the ice axe, how to use the ice axe, you need to learn how to survive with an ice axe. So
Right.
it all came into one trip. And it made me fall more in love with it. And that was the first time I actually experienced altitude, because Elbrus is at 5,642 meters.
Wow.
So it was the first time for my body to be exposed on that
How
altitude.
did your body react to that altitude?
Well, my body did very well on altitude.
Really?
Very, very well. That was the first time. But
Yeah.
I was too overconfident. So my next mountain was Aconcagua. And Aconcagua is one of the very tough mountains. And the percentage on Aconcagua of success is 40%.
Wow.
But I was too confident, and this is a lesson to be learned for others.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go on Aconcagua. I think it's the best thing to do right now. And I go on Aconcagua
Any reason why you went to Aconcagua next?
because the 7 summits was part of my plan, and I wanted to finish them, and Aconcagua seemed to be the closest one.
Okay.
So I'm just going to head there.
It's the European one of the 7 summits.
It's the one in South America. It's the highest one there.
Your geography is good, bro.
Yeah. It stands at 6,962
No, yeah, but
meters.
the one before that, the
Oh, yeah,
first
highest one in
Elbrus.
Europe.
Sorry, boss.
Dude,
Sorry.
come on.
Yeah. Okay. I told you.
But that's not one of the 7.
It is.
Oh, okay, so
it's the highest one in Europe.
Okay,
So there's 7
that's step number
continents. Exactly, 7 continents. Highest one in each continent.
Let's
makes
just
up the
go
7 summits.
through them. So what are they?
Okay.
So
we
Mount Elbrus in Europe.
Okay. Yeah. Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Yeah.
Aconcagua in South America.
Yeah.
Denali in North America.
Denali in North America,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
And then we have Karsten Pyramids, or Kosciuszko. It's one in Indonesia and one in Australia, but there's a confusion which one in which continent. So
Is it real?
you do both basically to complete
So
the 7
that's the
summits.
fifth.
And then the 7th is
Sixth?
why am I lost now?
Everest.
Everest, the
Obviously.
big one.
I've heard of that one.
And then there must be one more. I think we've only done 6.
No, 7. Actually, it's 8 because we consider 2 for 1.
Australasia.
Yeah,
So okay, cool.
yeah.
We just got a really quick free geography lesson.
Wow.
I thought it'd be a lot easier to ask that question than every time she said. And then we went to Everest. We're like, yeah, is that in? Yeah. So
So for any mountaineer,
Mm-hmm.
the 7 summits is like,
One of the challenges.
yeah, one of. But that, I mean, assuming that completing all of the 7, you're like Hall of Fame in mountaineering.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I wouldn't always support, in my opinion at least. With all due respect with everyone who's doing the 7 summits.
Yeah, this is
There
cool.
is a lot of other mountains to do. There's more challenges. There's the second 7 summits, and then you have the 14 8,000ers.
yes.
Those are the toughest mountains
Yeah,
in the world.
yeah.
So the 7 summits, they are tough. I'm not going to say anything
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
But it's one of the challenges only. There's way a lot more than the 7 summits.
Yeah, the height of the mountain doesn't
Exactly.
really determine the difficulty of the climb.
Exactly. There's technicality, the height, the altitude. A lot of things gets into place. Even the weather, for example.
Yeah.
I forgot that Mount Vincent in Antarctica.
There we go. That
I'm
was
sorry. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
correct. You were correct. So Mount Vincent in Antarctica has an extreme weather. The temperature can go below minus 50 or 60.
No way.
So it's one of the, it's not always the altitude. It can be technical. It can be the weather.
Yeah.
A lot of external factors.
You know something funny? One of my friends is a professional mountaineer, Adrian Hayes, who has been to. He did Mount Everest. He's got world record, and he went to the North and South Pole and
Yeah.
Mount Everest. He did 3 of the world's biggest peaks in a very short window. Went twice to K2.
Oh,
Failed the first
amazing.
time. Scaled it the second time.
Who's K2?
K2
K2 is one of the toughest mountain in the world.
in his
basically.
country.
Yeah.
1 in 4 people. Moonims, the
Shine.
cameraman, the handsome guy with the new beard standing behind the camera that no one ever gets to see. 1 in 4 people that go up it die.
Yeah.
20. Do you
Yeah.
want to play a sport that you've got 25% chance of dying? Oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But why I share this? But he has been unable to summit Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, you never know what the altitude when it hits.
What
happens? Yeah,
altitude sickness. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
It's crazy.
So, second mountain was Aconcagua in
But
South
I didn't
America.
make it.
Talk to us about that.
Exactly. So I was overconfident after Elbrus, thinking, oh, the altitude doesn't hit me, and I'm strong enough, and I have all what it gets. So, all what it takes. And then I started with Aconcagua, and we went really fast. We didn't have a proper window for acclimatization because we got hit by a lot of weather conditions. It was snowing, winds. It was crazy. So we had to rush it up. I made it to 6,400 meters, so I had around 400 something meters to the summit, but I had to turn back. I had altitude sickness. I felt very sick, nauseous. I lost one of my tooth at the back. Because of the pressure. There's, when you dive, there's a lot of pressure down under the water. It's the same thing when you go on altitudes.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pressure, and it's not my real tooth. It's those the ones they fix. So it popped out. I'm like, I think this is enough signs for me to turn back.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Mate, you've just said that so casually. It's something bigger though. Like I know, and it's like everyone will say 400 meters. Why didn't you just keep on going? You've gone all the way there, but that must have been something huge.
Those 400 meters would have taken me another 10 hours on that altitude, around 10 hours, because you're very slow, right? There's not enough oxygen. You're using your full lungs capacity, and with very low oxygen, so it's gonna take a while to continue.
Tell us what you're going through emotionally in that. It's your second summit. You've got this dream to do 7. On the second one, you fail.
It was really bad, but I had to take it with an open heart, of course, and say that it was okay and it happened. But look, 4 to 6 months of training, a lot of money into that, traveling to the other side of the world.
That's
And
what I'm saying.
I was on the mountain for 15 to 16 days to get to the summit. And that one day, all I wanted was a window of a couple of more hours, but I had to turn back. So it was very overwhelming when I went down, but I made a video saying, it's okay, I didn't make it, but you know what? I'm going to come again. That's what's important. And this is how I knew I'm actually so passionate about it. With all that taken into account, that all the effort and financial stuff went into it, and then saying, you know what? I'm going to do it again.
Immediately, whilst you were still there was that commitment. You're like, bang, I'm going to do this again.
That shows a lot of character.
Isn't it? That's very cool.
Because there's 2 choices, like either you give up or you get up.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm sure there's plenty of people that climb mountains that are like, I'm never going back there.
Yeah.
That was a disaster and I had a nightmare. Like, you had a nightmare. You went through all that terrible stuff. You can't breathe. You're so close to the top, but so far.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How do you then go back into society, into your daily life when you've had let's talk about this one, a failure in that situation? How do you then plug back into life?
I come back more positive than I should be.
Really?
Because I don't want people to look at me saying, oh, she didn't make it, she's upset about it. No, I'm not upset about it. I learned. For me, achievement has 2 things.
Yeah.
It's success and failure.
Yeah.
You either succeed, you make it to the summit, or you fail. And failure is still an achievement because you learn so much. And I learned so much from not being on the top of that mountain that day.
Right.
And going back, I went back way stronger that year.
How long? You went back the same year?
No, just a year after that. I was there last month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did it feel when you got to the top of it?
Oh my God. I was literally above the clouds.
Really?
It felt really nice.
Is it more special? Is that one more special because you failed one time?
Yes, this was way more special than any other mountains I've summited.
So we've done Elbrus, we've done Aconcagua.
Yeah.
What's next?
Okay, so after Aconcagua, I went to Kilimanjaro.
Right.
Whoever wants to go to Kilimanjaro, this is the best mountain to start with. I call it the fancy mountain because a lot of porters, a lot of stuff getting into it. It's very fancy and it's really nice.
We're actually organizing a trip from the gym where in August we have about half a dozen people going to climb Kilimanjaro this year.
Nice. Yeah.
It was actually one of our members, she wanted to do it and she said, I need some people to go with. Do you think people from the gym would be keen to go? And we're like, well, we'll ask. And half a dozen came through.
Nice.
And it's so close to here as well.
It is.
But it's busy, huh?
Yeah. it is very busy. There's
Awesome.
traffic on the mountain.
That's crazy.
How long did you take to do it? Because I mean that this is something that's really interesting, especially for people maybe going to Kilimanjaro. It's one of the closer mountains to here as well. How did you do it? Which route did you do? Tell us all about that.
So we took the Mishame route. It was around 7 days.
Nice.
The mountain stands at 5,895 meters. You got to be prepared for the altitude. Whoever it's their first time, there's no way to train for altitude unless being on altitude and on a mountain.
Really?
So there's no training for altitude.
So you didn't run around with these stupid oxygen masks on?
No.
Do you have one of those?
Thank God.
Do you have one of those?
Do I have one? Mate, I'll tell you something.
I'll tell you a story.
This is a
This
true
is
story.
debatable.
This is truth. Okay, so when all this bullshit altitude mask came out, like, I think it was around 2009 or 2010.
Yeah.
I'd first seen it, and these companies were selling altitude masks, do this. You know what I did? I went to a painting shop, the paint shop where they sell the paint, and I bought one of the masks that they give to the painters for when they're painting. And it restricts the amount of oxygen you can have in. And it was very cheap. It was like 50 dirhams or something. And I was like, I wore it, and I went and did a workout. I did like a hard workout, and I almost felt like I was going to die because there was not enough oxygen going in.
Same function.
It was exactly the same function. I was like, I don't want to train like that. Forget it. And yeah. And then I did more work into it. And like Tima is saying, you do have altitude chambers, but unless you're exposed to that, like unless you're literally living in your altitude chamber or sleeping in it every single night for a really long period, and it's a good one, and the pressure's exactly right, you're doing nothing, isn't it?
I got a mask for myself for the 2015 Open. I was told by my coach
you were going to do the Open in it.
I was like, you need to do this on all your rest days. You go 1 minute on, 2 minutes off on the bike for 40 minutes, like on all my active recovery days.
Really?
And I had this mask on, and the mask is super simple. Like you said, it restricts air. There's 3 holes in. You can block off the holes, or you can kind of adjust how much how much air can kind of flow through the mask.
Yeah.
And
did you do any good that year?
I did pretty decent actually.
But you don't use it anymore, thanks.
No, because essentially, let's talk about what happens in the blood what is the benefit of being in altitude, and isn't that essentially just the hemoglobin in the blood?
Okay, so altitude is basically the height of the mountain to sea level.
Yeah.
Okay, to get to the height of the mountain, so after 2,500 meters, the oxygen becomes less.
Yeah.
So you start putting more effort every step you take.
Yeah.
So the higher you go, the lower the oxygen is. You can't avoid that, of course, but we acclimatize, so we can cope with that altitude. So we climb high and then we sleep low. That's why you see us. So let's take Elbrus. There is a height at 3,085 meters, I think. I don't really remember the proper height, but every day we climb around 200 to 300 meters and go back down, sleep down. And then we climb a little bit more and sleep down. And this is where the red blood cells starts increasing in the body, because you're going high, and then when you sleep low while sleeping, it becomes way more, and it makes it way easier to cope with that altitude.
There we go.
Because some athletes from, like, for example, if we have athletes from Switzerland in CrossFit, because that's kind of what we're all about, like, some of them are extremely fit, and there's some people who think that due to the altitude that they train in and live in, like when they come down to whatever Dubai or whatever they go to compete, they feel great.
Exactly, and it's way easier because you're used to doing a lot of effort. Let's say on 45% of oxygen, now you have 100% oxygen and you're putting the same effort.
Yeah.
Imagine how much you can give in. So when I just came back, right? So I did 2 mountains at above 6,800, right? I went for a run. I wasn't even tired.
I was going to say,
I was just going to go.
We should put part of this show as a workout where she can kick our ass.
We can bring 3 treadmills up here.
Yeah, exactly. And we do the show running, and like every 5 minutes we just increase the speed and the incline, and
Death by
whoever's still standing back. It's true. Like for the listeners, all the jokes aside, it's all about your it's all about your red blood cell count. And by going up to these altitudes, and that's the acclimatization process. You're increasing the number of red blood cells, right?
Exactly.
So right now in your body, you have more why can't I even say red blood cells?
Right.
Well, red blood cells than
You got hit
do
by a truck.
White blood. Yeah, but that was 10 days ago. I can't keep using that as an excuse. You now have a lot more red blood cells.
And that is why the mask doesn't work.
No. I said this is the basis.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
it works for some people.
But that is why that mask does not work, because
Yeah.
essentially what we just spoke about is that
Exactly.
but you're restricted with air and etc. But the mask also restricts you with air, but it doesn't develop the red blood cells.
100%.
Correct. Yeah, cool.
Boom.
So Kilimanjaro was number
3. Yeah.
Second, and you were successful?
Yeah. Kilimanjaro. And now my only failed one was Aconcagua in 2016. So we went for Kilimanjaro, and then I went to the Alps.
Okay.
We did the Tour de Mont Blanc. So you start in France, and then you pass through Italy, and then to Switzerland, and then back to France. It's 170 kilometers, and it's amazing. We did that in 7 days. It was like full-on autonomy, backpacking. And
is that more just like trekking?
Yeah. Like the highest point you get to is around 2,400 something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's actually a super cool.
My dad did that.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous, amazing scenery.
I think
would
they
like suggest
actually do it as an ultra running race as well. You can run it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think Rob Jones wants to do that.
Okay, yeah, because he's family there, right? As well.
His
in Chamonix,
mum lives in Chamonix,
which is like the bottom of Mont Blanc.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Amazing.
very close. Yeah,
exactly.
Super cool. So you went and did that just for training, as you do?
So yeah, we did that in 7 days, and then we went up to Mont Blanc. It was successful. We did that in less than 48 hours.
Wow.
And then we came back. I had an extra day. So there's a mountain next to Mont Blanc, which is Mont Blanc de Tacul. We took a cable car, so it just took us 8 hours. It was 4,242 meters, and came back down. And then came back here, and then that was in August. In October, I went to Nepal. My target was Island Peak, that stands at 6,200 meters.
Wow.
This was one of the most exciting hikes for me because on Island Peak we had to cross those stainless steel, I think, ladders that they put. You see them?
Wow.
Yeah. That was amazing. So we had to cross that. There was we had to ascend because before the summit, the last 200 meters of the summit, we're ascending at around 70 to 80 degrees.
Wow.
A snow wall.
That is crazy.
That was really nice. And I did Chukungri as well on the way up. So that took us around, I think, 15 days.
I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned a lot of climbs and trips. I knew about the Mont Blanc one. I've never heard of those other two that you just mentioned there. You seem to have done a lot of stuff outside the more, what should we say, glamorous and checkbox ticking things. Have some of those trips been some of your best trips?
Yeah, Island Peak was amazing.
Really?
Yes.
So, because I always think in mountaineering, like everyone's like, I'm going to climb Everest.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, there's some really, really incredible places to get to the top of, which might not be quite as high, but could be doubly as beautiful, equally as challenging, all of this stuff. So this
The
is
other
what
mountain is just weak marketing, man.
Yeah, the other mountains need to step up their social media game, don't they? But I think this is a really cool part of your story as well, that you're a lot more diverse than other people as well.
That's why I started with, some people are limiting themselves to the 7 Summits challenge, but there is a lot more to mountaineering.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I wanted to try climbing in a lot of regions. So I did the Alps.
Right.
It's very different to climb in the Alps than the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And then the Andes. The Andes, you have more pressure because it's on the other side of the world, at the end of the equator.
Yeah.
So the pressure is completely different.
Wow.
I've climbed in the Middle East. And the Middle East is, okay, there's not a lot of altitude, but it's also the environment is completely different. So you gotta try to climb in different regions to understand what's the difference between the mountains and why there's a lot more besides the 7 summits and the very well-known mountains, basically.
That's very cool. So that was those climbs that you just mentioned you did in October of last year.
2017.
2017.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done since then?
So I continued training, and this January I went to Aconcagua. So this was my second attempt. It was successful. It took us 18 days to get to the summit.
Wow.
And like 3 days back down. And then I took 2 days rest. And since I was already in South America, there's the highest active volcano in Chile. It's called Ojos del Salado, and it stands at 6,893 meters.
Wow.
So we did that in 4 days.
Just went and ran up that in 4 days. As you do.
Have a few extra days, why not?
Why not? I mean, mate, if you had extra days, what would you do?
Hit every CrossFit gym in South America.
Just go to CrossFit. Yeah. Wow, so that's another one that you've ticked off that isn't on the big bucket list, but it's something super cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was completely. Imagine you're on a mountain that looks like a desert or a beach somewhere in between. Like the sand is different, the heat, the weather, everything was completely different. It was a complete new experience for me.
So of the 7 summits, you've now got 3 ticked off.
Yeah.
Everyone's listening to this and going, this sounds awesome. Tima's life sounds amazing. Does she not work? Tell us a little bit about, because you did used to have what people would generally term, and I hate the generalization here, of a career with you said with Reuters. Tell us a little bit about that, when you gave it up and how it's all transpired.
So after I graduated, I got a job with Reuters for around 2 years.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, of course. It was my first job, so obviously I was putting on my career and where I'm going to reach, and I was so busy with all that. And then at one point, when I tried all these mountains, I'm like, okay, this is it. I don't think I can do this anymore. I need flexibility. I need to do more mountains, and I think it's my passion.
Yeah.
I don't want a career at this point. I want to do something I love. So I quit my job, and luckily, I'm blessed. We have a family business. Right. So I joined my family business, in which I can run even when I'm on the mountain. So when I'm on base camp and I get connection, I work from there.
You can work.
Exactly, I can.
Wow.
And it's
cool.
way more
hustle.
flexible. Exactly. And right now I'm working on other stuff for myself.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if it works out, it can pay off my passion, right? I need the financial support.
Could you ever live off mountaineering? Is there any sort of business or entrepreneurial thing that you could do to...
Everybody's doing those outdoors companies right now, like they take people on hikes and all that, like guiding, but I don't think I'm really into guiding, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love mountains, but I don't think I can do good in guiding. So I don't think I can make a good money out of that. Other things, it would be more of sponsorship, and once you get a lot of exposure and people will start
being
paying.
on our show.
That's exposure.
Woo!
If anyone wants to sponsor Tima, first come and speak to me and Andre about sponsoring us. And if we don't like your brand, she can have it. But don't go straight. Just kidding. Don't go straight to her. But I mean, that's one of the biggest things, is that mountaineering is, apart from being incredibly tough and all that, is financially quite challenging as well.
It is.
Do you literally put everything you earn into it?
No.
Like, I mean, these trips there, it's not like, okay, I'm like Andre competes in CrossFit. Mm-hmm. He goes for 3 days to Madrid. It's a 7-hour flight. He does a competition for 2 days and flies back. It costs him, okay, even if it's 4,000 euros. But your trip is like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It needs all of this equipment.
Yeah.
You have to pay a guide when you're there, and this when you, like, it's a lot of money, right?
And you're not at work.
Yep. Okay, so for my equipment, it's very expensive, of course.
Yeah.
The mountaineering gear is crazy. But I've been, investing in certain equipment for the past 3.5 years now.
Right.
So I almost completed my full equipment.
So you sort of build it up as you go.
Sometimes we really don't use the guide services, because I know a Lebanese guide and all that. He's a very good friend of mine. So we just...
Mafia.
I
like it.
GPS and all that.
Yeah.
And then we figure out the way and all that. Like Ojos del Salado was unguided.
Really?
It was just... Yeah.
That's something cool. What's the difference? How do you feel the difference of going somewhere guided and unguided?
Guided, you can just continue walking. You really don't need to use a lot of your brains and make sense, have a lot of sense of where you are.
Yeah.
No sense of direction. Unguided, you need to look for the trail, make sure you're on the right trail. You really don't want to go in the wrong direction when you're on that altitude, and then you have to, it's wrong, you got to turn back and all that.
Yeah.
So you got to focus more, you got to put more effort into this, and it's way cheaper.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things. It's funny you should say that. I remember we did an ultra once in Wales, me and my friend Tom, and we went to the highest point in Wales. It's called Pennyfan, and we're at the top. We took all the pictures and stuff.
Was it like 1,800 meters?
I actually don't know how much it is, mate. I don't think it's that high. No, but I'm just trying to think, because I have a picture on the top with how high it is. It's irrelevant. The height of it's irrelevant. It wasn't very high.
Tima doesn't care.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's not high enough.
And we went off the peak, like the top of it, and we're reading the map, and we're trying to figure it out, and we think the next checkpoint's down that way, and it wasn't. So we went down that way for about 3k down, so dropped all of this altitude, got to the bottom, and then found someone. There was no one in that area. We found someone. We said, "Oh, we're here on the map, aren't we?" He goes, "No, mate, you're here on the map." Yeah. So we actually turned a 92k ultramarathon through the hills in Wales into over 100k with a big detour with lots of elevation.
Amazing.
So it's a little bit more dangerous, but I can imagine like sometimes being on your own. Like now that you have experience, could be quite good fun as well.
Yeah.
With being with that sort of unguidedness. So what's the plan then? You've got 3 of these ticked off.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do 7 more. Is there a time limit that you've set for yourself?
Not really. Okay, so I wanted to put a time limit, but at this point, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So whatever mountain, it depends on the season as well, right? You can't go on the mountain when it's on the season.
Yeah.
So the next season for Denali is very soon. It's between May and June. I'm planning to head there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can take off another summit, and then I'm confused between a Nepal trip or a Karstens Pyramid one. So I can complete another summit, or just explore another mountain.
Just explore
in August or October. It all depends.
Do you feel that when you do those less famous mountains, like it's a great experience and it's also great training for these big ones
Yes.
that are on the list?
Yes, and there's way less traffic on those mountains.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can actually be on your own.
Mhm.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah.
How many people? That's what I forgot to ask. How many people are normally in your group?
It depends. So on Everest, we were around 24 people. It was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. It was too much.
Yeah.
But I think that was exceptional. But on Kilimanjaro, we were around 7.
Nice.
Aconcagua, way less. Like we were 3 the first trip. Second trip, we were 4.
Wow.
Mont Blanc, we're around 6. So it's nice to keep it between 6 to 12 max.
Right.
On a trip.
And are there people that are going to do more than one trips with you, or do you have like a core group, or each time it's like 10 different people?
It's 10 different people.
Really?
Yeah. You get to meet.
You must build some crazy relationships.
Yeah.
It must be
It's the best.
absolutely wild, huh?
And imagine, like, everybody's going there for the same purpose. You really have no idea about that person's background, yeah? But you all are in survival mode, and you need to get to the top and come back safe and enjoy the journey.
Mountaineer brotherhood.
Exactly.
That must be quite cool. So literally every time you go on a trip, you're just making a whole bunch of new friends.
Yeah, that's besides
And-
the people that you meet on the mountain. Like,
Yeah.
I've met the first Australian woman who scaled Everest.
But then you entrust these people with your life.
Why not? Why would you trust anyone with your life? That's the thing. You gotta depend on yourself on the mountain, even if it's guided.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
But do
important.
you not feel like that sometimes? Do you not feel like, okay, some of them, you've obviously been through some situations, but in some situations, when you're going to do Everest, you're going to have...
My plan is 2020.
Right. So Everest 2020...
There's a lot of ifs.
Okay, we don't do that here. But on Everest 2020, you're going to have someone in your expedition group. If they carry on like an idiot,
Yeah.
they're going to put your life at risk.
That's why you're gonna have to make a decision.
Yeah?
Yeah. You're gonna say, look, we cannot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will. But this has to happen and whatnot. Like,
That's crazy.
you have to be very honest about it. One
Yeah.
of the reasons I went down of Aconcagua last year was
Yeah.
of this thing as well. We had one guide on 3 people. If one of us decides to turn back
Yes.
after 6,400 meters, that
Yeah.
means the whole expedition has to go down.
Wow.
So I'm like, this is not going to be fair. And I've been sick already for like the past 5 days. I'd rather turn back.
Turn
There
back
was a
now.
lot of facts for me to turn
That's
back.
very selfless, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So the plan now, so Everest is in 2020.
Yeah.
Next year or this year,
This year.
is Denali.
Mm-hmm.
And
Karstens or maybe an 8,000er. I really want to try what it feels like to be at 8,000 meters.
yeah.
So there's like easy ones, that's what they say. Cho'oyo, less technical ones.
Right.
There's Cho'oyo, it's Nepal. And there's Manasu, but maybe I think it's a tough one. I don't know. I want to do an 8,000er just to see what will my body react to that.
At 8,000.
What is the highest mountain?
Everest.
Yeah, but
Everest.
how tall is that?
8,848 meters. So
Okay.
that's around where the flight flies.
Yeah. It's like 35,000.
29,000 something feet.
29,000
So it's
feet.
between the
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
She knows her stats, man.
I can't believe she's just rattling off all these numbers. But, mate, if I ask you about a workout, you know, she could actually be making all these numbers up.
yeah.
And go, wow, really? And she's
You
like,
can Google that.
Two CrossFit geeks, like,
I'm
whoa.
sure you know. Let's go. We've got a little bit of time left. I'm interested to hear how you train. So when you've got a expedition dialed in, Denali, what's the training plan to get you there? Because this will be useful for the people that go into Kilimanjaro as well. How do you train to climb these mountains?
It's very different to train for Kilimanjaro and Denali. It's two completely different mountains. So in Kilimanjaro, you gotta build up a good stamina.
Yeah.
A lot of squats, a lot of lunges. This is a lot of help for you.
Right.
I think CrossFit. I tried CrossFit for a month.
Did you?
It's amazing for the mountain.
Keep talking. This is the best. Great. We actually might hire her as
I must say, I
agent.
never liked it because I thought there was a lot of stuff happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a try for a month.
Yeah.
And before my trip to Nepal, it was amazing. It worked very well.
Really?
Very well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific dial-in to the date of Denali, that you're a training plan that you're following?
Yeah. So I'm starting on the 1st of March, but in Denali you have to carry around 28 kilos on in your backpack, and then there's a sledge that you need to pull, which has another 30 kilos.
Whoa.
So that's a lot of weight. So the way I'm going to train for that, of course, I'm going to pull a wheel.
The tire.
The tire, sorry. And, of course, there's a lot of mountains in Brak, Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah.
So carry a heavy backpack and go up on a steep one.
You train Nitesh. He does a lot of mountain climbing and expeditions.
We've had a lot of talks about like how to train him based on what he tells me about the hikes. Obviously, I haven't done any big mountains or anything like that, but based on what he's told me, and we've kind of built a program upon that. Every time he comes, we do a lot of core stuff. He says that one of the first things that blows up.
That's what you were saying as
well. One of the first things that
course.
blows up is like your lower back, just from carrying stuff like that. So a lot of core work. We do a lot of actually we added quite a lot of strongman stuff together with some endurance stuff. Like that could be yoke carries, sled drags, like you mentioned. He always wears a vest from the first minute to the final minute of the whole hour.
Even for the warm-up?
For the whole thing.
Which is 10 kilo, 20 pounds?
Yeah, 20 pounds. So it's not exactly 28 kilos, but
it's
for 1 hour doing burpees, step-ups, and you know, running.
It makes him
and
do
stuff
everything
like
in it as well. It's
So yeah, we do quite a lot of stuff like that. Like we do a lot of stuff also where he needs to carry stuff in front of him. Just really to build like his obliques and his lower back strength.
Wow. So it sounds quite similar, but I won't see you pulling the tire down Sheikh Zayed Road or anything
No,
like
not
that.
tire. Not Sheikh Zayed Road. Like somewhere in the desert, most
You should come pull our sleds. We have a lot of perfect equipment for that stuff.
We have a lot of sleds and we have a lot of weight to put on them as well. But that's actually why those sled drags are so good for everyone. Yeah. Just in case you want to go off and climb a mountain. So after Denali, for the rest of the year, is that the only one plan for this year, or do you have something? Is there a winter weather window that opens up?
The one that I said, Karsten's Pyramid, that requires a lot of rock climbing, so I need to focus on that more. So
How
my
are
training,
you? Are you good in rock climbing?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh wow! You should hook up with Tufik, a friend of ours, Tufik Abu Neda.
Yeah.
He does loads of rock climbing. He does caving.
Oh,
he's been.
Tufi, I know him. I know him.
There we go. Of course you do. Yeah,
he's hardcore.
I obviously don't pronounce his name properly. Yeah, he. Whenever we need things in the ceiling fixed, we just give him a call up. But yeah, he does. He does a lot of climbing. So you'll be spending time with him up in Ras Al Khaimah. He loves it up there.
Yeah. I see his posts.
Yeah,
very cool.
Before we wrap it up. I mean, this has been really cool. I've actually super enjoyed it. I think what you're doing is something amazing. I want to ask, Andre, I'll ask you the final question. I want to ask you one question that I don't think we've answered specifically. Why do you do what you do?
There's a lot of answers to that. Some people say
we can extend the show.
Some people, it's because I love it.
Really?
I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself on the mountain, why am I here? Why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
It was minus 28. I'm very high. I don't know what am I doing? And then when you reach to the summit, you completely forget about everything. And then when you get back home, I've been here for just a week, and I'm still wondering, why am I even back?
Really?
You know what I mean? So it's just when you have a passion towards something, no matter what, no matter how painful it is, you're gonna still do it.
So it's really just built on passion.
You keep on going.
I mean,
back.
that's what's come through a lot with what you're saying, and how you speak about it. It's very passionate and I love. But yeah, and it wasn't just one day. You just decided I'm gonna be into it. It's like it's building.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to squeeze one other question before you finish up with that one. In your passion's building. In 2020, you're going to summit Everest.
Yeah.
What comes after that?
One of my dreams.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say goal because I don't know. One of my dreams is to finish the 14 8,000ers. I want to try.
Wow.
I just want to try. Like, a lot of people are dying on K2 and Annapurna. There has been like 3 expeditions. It's been crazy. But it's just a dream for now. I'm going to continue mountaineering. I want to gain way more experience because I can be on those heights with that. I'm still like in the process, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So once I feel I'm ready, I might target that.
How old are you now?
25.
So you have plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
That's one thing that I have noticed with mountaineering. A lot of the guys that are really killing it are a little bit older. So you're going to get that experience, and I hope you crush it.
Hopefully.
This is going to be cool. When you finish the 7 summits, you have to come back on the show.
100%.
We sign it before we leave.
One thing that stuck with me is that you couldn't exactly explain why you love it, and I think that a lot of people are always looking for explanations for why they're doing something.
Yeah.
And in some things, there's just like you just love something, but you cannot explain or grasp what it is exactly that you love about it. You just love it,
and you just keep going.
Yeah. I mean,
this is a great example.
Yeah.
That's when you know how much you love it, right? Yeah.
So all this bullshit that you keep asking me about my why and my reason and my motivation.
You don't even need it.
I love it, mate. And that's it's got Tima to the top of all these mountains, and it's going to get it to the 7 summits. So who really cares?
So all those books about why you do it, just throw them out.
I've been writing articles for years about this stuff.
Our final question is: if you have one piece of advice that you've been given or learned along your way, what would that exactly be? If you have 2, you can give 2.
Perfect, because I have one for the young ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
How young?
Anyone between teenagers to let's say to.
He's a teenager still. Don't worry.
No,
he's not really.
Yeah, you don't look like
23.
one. Okay.
He's 23. He's
23. Please.
I think they should focus a lot on being healthy, fit, having a very good lifestyle. Even if they don't like it right now, just give it a try, because I really believe this is a prerequisite for everything. Whenever you decide to do it. When I decided that I want to start mountaineering, I was so lucky to have a good fitness level, because I've been doing that. So any bad habits, keep it away. Really, even if you don't have a goal, it doesn't have to be a mountain. Maybe you want to be a runner, a CrossFit, whatever things out there.
CrossFit, CrossFitter.
Fitter.
Well, it was like mountaineer or mountaineeress. You know, we made that one silly at the start.
Yeah, so I think they should focus on that. And for everyone else, patience, determination, and commitment. Never stop. On the mountain, you take a step by the time, but it can be so slow. It can take 12 hours.
I love this.
But you will get it. Just do not stop. Look, I always say this. Climbing a mountain is like taking any risk in life. Yeah. It starts with excitement and confidence. You're so excited about it. You're going to do it. You know what you're deciding, right? And then it gets to challenges and decision making. This is where you got to figure out which route you got to take. Am I doing the right thing or not? And then the worst part is fears and doubt. This is when I want to turn back. Should I continue? I'm sick. Am I going to die? Yeah. And same thing in any risk, yeah? And then achievement, which can be either success or failure.
Yeah, that is really cool. I love that last bit, because I've heard that from so many people. It can take you literally on the mountain like hours to go 50 meters.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like one step, and then you literally have to pause for I don't know how much time. That's a really cool thing to bring to life.
Yeah.
Tima, you've been absolutely awesome. We already have an agreement from you that you're going to come back when you finish this.
Yes.
If that's not motivation enough to climb these 7 summits and to absolutely dominate them, there is no other motivation.
You're a hater.
There's no other one. So we want to thank you for being on the show. If people want to follow your journey, Instagram?
At Mountain Gypsy with an I because it was taken, the proper one. Or just Tima Derian, Tima, my family name. Or same thing on Facebook.
Awesome. Guys, hop over. That's where I found Tima. I was trying to explain to her how I found her in my stalking process, looking for guests for the show, and I couldn't quite justify it, and it didn't want to get weird, but that's how I found her, Mountain Gypsy, over there on Instagram. Congratulations for what you've done. All the very best for what you're going to do. We look forward to watching it unfold. We look forward to having you back.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
you guys
a lot.
have been amazing.
Cheers.